Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Okay, my name is 𝗖𝗵𝗶𝗿𝗀𝗀 on behalf of 𝗖𝗵𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗀, 𝗘𝗱𝗊𝒀𝒂𝒃 Flow, Tata Consultancy Services, 𝗘𝗱𝗊𝒂𝒃, 𝗵𝗵𝗶 Technologies, 𝗖𝗵𝗵𝗶 I welcome you all for this exclusive conference on 4th edition of Procurement Excellence. First, I'd like to thank all of you for sparing your time and joining this summit. Now, giving a brief idea about the conference, as you all know, the digital transformation of various industries have become general trend, and procurement has become the best entry point for the digital transformation of enterprises. The further development of emerging technologies such as AI, ML, predictive analysis, and cloud computing, big data, RPA, also empower digital procurement to upgrade further. It improves the efficiency of procurement function and significantly reduces the cost, thereby helping companies to achieve a faster, more transparent, and sustainable procurement process. Today, we will analyze the development trend of digital procurement in the new normal from a global perspective and discuss how procurement will help companies to achieve their internal goals. At the same time, we will also interpret the development of status of new digital procurement technologies and hot topics such as supplier relationship management. With this note, let me introduce our chairperson for the day and for his opening remarks. That's Anand, Sales Director with 𝗖𝗵𝗶𝗿𝗀𝗀 India and South Asia. To give you a background, more than 23 years of experience having done leadership role in sales, pre-sales, and delivery in India and USA. He has worked in the past with IBM, Oracle, Wipro, Genpact, and niche consulting firms. In his current role with 𝗖𝗵𝗶𝗿𝗀, he is responsible for sales, business development, customer success for India and South Asia region. Brings in expertise in consultative selling, helping large organizations with digitization of process to drive the top line, reduce cost, and improve efficiency. Can we welcome Harsh with big round of applause, please?
Good morning, everyone. I think very happy to see all of you in person here, and welcome to 4th edition of Procurement Excellence. And so I think maybe you would have like more than 70+ procurement professionals in the room across different industries. And I'm sure all of you would be looking forward to share your experience, learn from each other, and also maybe collectively brainstorm maybe how we can make procurement more effective and agile in your respective organizations. So before we get started, I think maybe just want to kind of share a little bit on maybe some of the procurement priorities, and I think good to hear from you people also as we go through the day. So this is a survey we did in partnership with Hackett, and which we do every year. So this report was published more around your Jan 2022. And if you look at, in terms of the number one procurement priority is moving to your maintaining your kind of business continuity or managing your supply risk proactively. We came out of pandemic, like your early 2022, and we thought like things are normal. Then we had this geopolitical tensions and the Russia-Ukraine war leading to your sanctions on Russia, which kind of led to your energy crisis and also to your maybe inflation in your commodity cost, not only for metals or let's say your natural gas, but even for your agri-commodities like your wheat or let's say your corn. So definitely we'll look at maybe how you people are looking at kind of managing the supply chain risk in your respective organizations. Other thing is that managing your spend, that always has been a key KPI for procurement, but maybe it has become more challenging in the new world, especially with all the inflation that we are seeing across the world. And maybe I think, and this is my personal opinion, I feel that Indian economy is doing pretty well. I think the margins are improving. There's a good domestic demand, but at the same time, everything is interconnected. The kind of inflation that we're seeing in the US, which is the highest in let's say last 40 years. And if you look at our rupee has depreciated by 7 to 8% in first 6 months, right? So that brings a challenge. There's a withdrawal of capital from the market. So that adds more challenge in terms of how we manage your hedging and manage your cost. Other important thing is we hear a lot about your ESG, and it's not just a buzzword. I think your government has come up with a mandate where all the organizations with a market cap of 1,000 CR, they have to start publishing your ESG reports, start of financial years. So with this, all this, your increasing priorities and, maybe how procurement can be more efficient. And we are seeing a lot of focus on your digital transformation to enable, or maybe to free up the bandwidth of procurement from the repeatable task, provide more visibility on your supplier risk, on your sourcing initiatives, and basically kind of free up the bandwidth for strategic activities also. So we'll look at maybe, what is the adoption of procurement technologies across your processes on supplier management, sourcing, contracting, and let's say your vendor portal. The other important thing, one which will pick it up is, maybe in terms of aligning of skills. So it's not just about your negotiation, especially with the number of product launches and the product life cycle getting short, and with the innovation or the disruption happening in every industry, it becomes very important to have a good mix of your soft skills as well as maybe also your data analytics skills to drive insight. So we look at maybe what procurement organizations are doing and how you're addressing your skill challenge and kind of retain the talent. So with this, if we let's say move forward, and we talked about the risk. And if you look at, the very first risk, and, when I was reading this report, and typically, you relate your cyber security, maybe, that's a risk more relevant to, let's say, your financial companies, and maybe not with manufacturing. But as an afterthought, and if you look at the level of digitization we're looking at, you're putting a lot of your confidential data, with respect to your contracts, your POs, and you're interacting with a supply base of 1,000+ suppliers. Your employees of your suppliers, they're moving from company to company. So how do you ensure that all the data is secure? There is no breach of data, and the confidentiality is secured. In addition to that, we talked about the supply chain disruption, in the last year because of pandemic, now because of your Russia-Ukraine war. Now I think there is a new kind of your monkeypox. Your WHO has declared the kind of a global health emergency, keeping fingers crossed. I think nothing happens, but you never know. I think disruption is the new norm. And inflation, which no one was talking till last year. And today, I think at the start of this year, the entire world is struggling with inflation. I'm sure, I think with all those interest rates getting tightened up by central bank across the globe, hoping maybe next couple of months, 1 year down the line, we're able to curb inflation. And definitely we have talked about the commodity price shocks and all that, the way your prices for metals or your oil have peaked and how it's impacting your overall supply chain. When it comes to your, in terms of the digital procurement capabilities, and this is where we're just putting a 2x2 matrix on your, let's say, your importance and maturity. So definitely, as everyone says, your data is new oil. So we see a lot of investment getting put into your visualization tools to understand your spend, your share of business, your supplier performance. But at the same time, there's a lot of focus in terms of maybe how to generate insights out of that data to take more proactive decisions. With respect to your digital procurement tools, and which is more, I would say, not on your transactional, but more on the upstream procurement processes, how to digitize your sourcing, contracting processes, not for your indirect material, but maybe for your direct material also, that accounts for your 80% of spend and drive efficiencies and improve margins. If you look at on the left-hand side, the lowermost quadrant, and this is where more on the transactional automation, where I think I'm sure everyone in this room would have ERPs implemented in their respective organizations, and maybe you're extending that to your vendors so that there's exchange of information and you enable and improve your supply chain agility. Other thing with respect to your smart automation, which I think it's more in terms of everyone keeps on talking about cognitive sourcing and all that, and which is more at this stage to manage your tail end spend, where the number of transactions are very high, but you end up spending a lot of bandwidth, and procurement, you're responsible for every penny you spend, and you have to maintain governance and compliance on that. Okay. So let's move next, and it shows the status of your adoption of procurement technologies, and it's an interesting topic. And I'm sure each one of you in room would be at different stages when it comes to your adoption of procurement technologies. What we have seen, there is a good level of adoption, which is, if you look at some of the areas, more on managing your processes on, let's say, your sourcing and contracting, extending your portals to your vendor supply base to manage your schedules or ASNs or providing your invoice visibilities. But if you look at respect to some of the evolving technologies, and this is where respect to your advanced analytics, where you want to look at your macroeconomic data, you want to look at maybe your the commodity indexes from, let's say, your ICCS and other third parties, and leverage that information to maybe predict your price movements and have better negotiations. Respect to your chatbots and all that, again, the technology is evolving. A very simple use case could be, see, today you buy an insurance policy, right? And there is no human interaction. There is a chatbot. You interact, in a kind of an English language, and it kind of throws you recommendation and all that. Maybe can we do that for your supply base, right? You don't want to set up your help desk and all that. Maybe it's a 24/7. You have suppliers across the globe. So I think technology is still evolving at this point of time, but some work has happened. I'm sure in future we'll see more growth. But if you look at the entire kind of the state of affairs, there is a still significant step to be taken. And if you look at across this, we see there's a double-digit kind of a growth when it comes to maybe your implementation of these technologies to drive your effectiveness and efficiency. Moving next, and this is again, more how well procurement is aligned, with your enterprise priorities. And today, when we're talking of digital transformation, I think there's a lot happening, in terms of digitizing your processes on your, let's say, your HR, to improve your employee retention, or learning management systems, on CRM systems to improve your customer experience. And I think that's where procurement is very well aligned, in terms of also kind of improving the overall supplier experience and also improving the overall employee experience, for your employees, to give them better tools to do their jobs more effectively. Other important thing is respect to your, and I don't know, maybe this report was published 6 months back, and if you look at, there was less focus on SG&A, so which showed that the mindset moving from your cost to growth. But I think maybe 6 months down the line where we are, and with all the fears of inflation, and that's going to impact demand, I think maybe if we do the survey today, it may move up. Right? So with this, I think what we're going to do is, let's kickstart the session today. And I'm sure that, each one of you would talk about maybe, the procurement priorities in your organizations, and maybe what is the adoption of procurement technology, maybe what are the challenges you face, and what are the risk mitigation strategies that you have put in place, and also maybe the business benefits, right? So I think I'm looking forward to kind of, our interactive session where I encourage each one of you to share your experience, learn from each other, and also have some fun during the day. Thank you.